85% of all CBD companies that aren't in Puerto Rico will fail. That's my prediction. We're going to take a look at an article from the Marijuana Venture and take a look at why Puerto Rico is an island of opportunity coming up.
It's only entertainment.
Welcome back to the Talking Hedge. I'm Josh Kincaid, capital markets analyst and host of your Cannabis Business Podcast. You guys remember that you can't have taxation without representation? Well, Puerto Rico doesn't have any representation. They don't have congressional representation, so they don't pay federal taxes. They also can't vote federal elections. So that makes Puerto Rico literally the only place in the world an American can go and not pay federal taxes. Anywhere else in the world, you have, if you work in another country, you have foreign income exclusion at $140,000. Anything more than that, you pay the federal government, except in Puerto Rico. That's why you see a lot of Bitcoin people going down there and operating, is because you don't have to pay any taxes on anything, investment, crypto, or cannabis related. So that's why I think, in my opinion, if you're a CBD company and you don't really have anything to differentiate you from somebody else, the only way you can make survive, in my opinion, you'll make at least 26% more just by operating out of Puerto Rico than somebody doing the same exact thing in California, which makes it very, very difficult to compete in that kind of environment. So for that reasons, we're going to take a look at why Puerto Rico is an island of opportunity. I was in Puerto Rico in 2018 for just a day. Actually, I was on a cruise. And so I had 2 appointments back to back for about 6 hours and got to see none of Puerto Rico, but the meetings went really well. And I'm looking to move there for 6 months out of the year to qualify for Act 60, to get down there, get out of the Seattle winter, get down to the Caribbean, and utilize some of these tax advantages, and frankly, just find some place else to move to for a while. They had a thriving medical program when I was down there. And so that was kind of nice. There was a dispensary right by the cruise ship, as a matter of fact. So apparently, this is providing the island 3.2 million citizens with some ways to manage their health and wellness. So 5 years after legalization, looks like they've got some opportunities in there to get more medical access across the island. Trying to become a leader in the area. A lot of people go to Jamaica, and those are folks who've never heard of Act 60. And so anyone going to Jamaica is a massive red flag to me, because they're going for this Rastafarian culture rather than looking at the money behind it. They literally aren't going to have enough money to survive. So anyone who's gone to Jamaica over Puerto Rico, massive red flag in my book that they are not going to survive. So you're starting to see a lot more dispensaries pop up. If you follow the government expectation, there's going to be 500,000 certified patients in 5 years, and expecting to have to start to have a lot more dispensaries in order to keep up with that. Looks like the number of dispensaries they're going to have as of last year exceeded 200, but the number of doctors plummeted. So I'm not sure if they took off as a result of COVID and had to leave, but it looks like substantially reduced the number of doctors over there. We've got 120,000 active patients and 216 dispensaries. They've got their own educational platform. Department of Health issuing 280,000 patient licenses, indicating that the renewals have decreased over the past. Maybe they're getting it from somebody else and it's cheaper. Some of those licenses are not cheap. Of course, it looks like they're growing more than they're consuming. They thought there'd be more tourism. COVID's hit with that. And they always overproduce more and over expect and anticipate, because that's how they get the investment. They basically just lie to people, and those investors have no idea what's going on. Looks like they've kind of created an unintentional, vertically integrated monster where people just kind of started gobbling up all of the licenses simultaneously. So they're looking at maybe some bigger businesses getting into the industry, trying to lower costs and decrease margins and create competition. That could obviously harm some smaller businesses. So there's that give and take of trying to get somebody to establish it while not monopolizing and controlling the whole market. I was in Puerto Rico right after Hurricane Maria, 6 months afterwards, and that's pretty much when that boom started going. So that 27 hurricane was one of the worst natural disasters in history. And then the number of patients who got certified after that was pretty crazy. So a lot of people were struggling with anxiety and depression, maybe a lot of pain, whatever, PTSD. So a lot of people just said, forget it. I'm going to go and get some cannabis. So at the same time, you saw a lot more doctors seeing the efficacy around it and not really caring to deny it anymore. So a lot of people got on board and off to the races. So out of the 286 licenses, it looks like only about 120,000 or 40% are active. So people go out, they try it. Maybe it wasn't right for them. Maybe it was too expensive. Maybe they did like it and they just don't need the license because their neighbor has it. I think I qualify for that reason. I've stated several times that the cost of the licenses don't outweigh the benefits. So getting discounts for medical don't pay for the licenses itself. And if you can get it for cheaper, why even go to the store at all? I wasn't doing that until my medical provider left the state. Now I'm going to the stores. So it's about convenience and price. It's how people shop. There's nothing new about that. So they're going to have to come to some realization about taxes and accessibility and affordability. Otherwise, it's not going to happen the way they want it to. But here's one reason why you might want to have one. Apparently, when having a controlled substance, there's no distinction between cannabis, cocaine, or crack. So that's great. So it's been regulated for 5 years, but there's a 3-year sentence if you possess cannabis without a license. So I'm certainly glad I didn't get caught when I was down there. That would have been terrible. Medical facilities in Puerto Rico remind me a little bit of like Peru or Colombia, where the hospitals and doctors actually know about cannabis and can actually educate you on that instead of me going to the doctors and educating them on the endocannabinoid system. It seems like it might be the other way around. So that's a big difference. I think about being in a community, especially some places in like Mexico where it's associated with violence and drugs and everything. They have to re-educate them and show them that there is medicinal properties and therapeutic benefits. But it's also fun. So there's opportunities where Puerto Rico can kind of be on the global stage. They're talking about it could be this tourism and be the Vegas of the Caribbean. And it could be a fun place to have tourism, 2 to 3 million tourists each year. Why not? On top of that, for businesses, if you look, it's in the Caribbean, so there's beautiful water and beaches everywhere. If you look up Act 60, basically, if you're a service provider and you're selling to people outside of the island and you live and work there, and that's how you generate your revenue, then you qualify. There's other things too. You can have agriculture or tourism. You can do, hemp tourism and hemp agriculture. That used to be called Act 73, Act 74. And there's so many opportunities and benefits, but they're going to be taking that away, and they do a little bit. So I don't anticipate that. I don't anticipate the rules to remain the same, but as long as they don't have congressional representation, you can't have taxation. And so it will remain the only place in the world that you can go and not pay federal taxes. With that, we're going to roll this one up. I'm Josh Kincaid. This is The Talking Hedge. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, or don't, and I'm out. Don't forget to smash that like button on your way out and check out these other videos that we've got.